Right now, let's do it.
All right. Well, welcome you guys. We are the Critter Cops. And we have a very important mission for y'all today. The notorious Critter Crew is on the loose. This is a group of criminal animals in the state of Georgia, and they have been up to no good. But they know that we're on to them, and so they've all scattered, and they're in different places. We think that they have probably gone places where they know that they can blend in, that they are safe, that they feel comfortable, and that they can hide. So places that they are familiar with. So we have their photos of all of the Critter Crew. And y'all are going to work in teams and be special investigators for the GFI, which is the Georgia Forestry Investigators. So, we will put y'all in teams, and then we'll walk down to the area that we're going to be scoping out. And just know that some of these animals will probably be found here, some of them might not. That's what y'all are here to decide. All right? And so we need to be aware of what's going on here, our surroundings here, what kind of habitat this provides to different animals, and anything that might be beneficial to the critters that are hiding out. So do know that all of the animals that we are going to talk about today are native to Georgia. So they're native species. Can anyone remind us what a native species is? Raise their hand and let me know that. Yes.
They live here naturally, and they've kind of always lived here. They didn't come from somewhere.
Yeah, so they weren't introduced. This is their habitat where they feel comfortable and they have a relationship with the area, you could say. And so just know that we're not going to be looking for any polar bears or anything like that, because you know that they don't live here, right? So we will, I'll just kind of count y'all off. How many? We'll probably have two, I can't read this.
3 and 4.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I was just looking at that.
There you go, 10 total.
So everybody will get a set of questions to think about while you're looking at your habitat and while you are trying to decide if your critters are found in Whitehall Forest or not. And you can write your answers to these questions if you want to. You just have one set, and so you won't have one for each critter. But you can write your observations, write down your answers to these questions, and if you find any physical evidence, any tracks or fur, any scat, things like that, you're welcome to take a picture of it, or if it's safe to do so and sanitary to do so, you can bring it back with you to show the group. We'll put it back where we found it at the end of class. But we want evidence. So when we all regroup and you tell us whether you think we'll find these critters here or not, we want evidence, right? Okay. So police, cops, they have evidence, lockers and things like that. So we'll need evidence to help make our case for these animals. So any, again, descriptions, photos, physical evidence is super helpful. Did you want to add anything, Steph?
So our jurisdiction today is going to be within view of our creek. We don't want anyone going off where we can't see them. We don't know what could happen out there. It's just our jurisdiction.
All right. So what I'll do is I'm just going to divide y'all up based on where you're standing, basically. So y'all are going to be our first three. Okay. And that is your packet. Y'all will be our next three. And then y'all will be a group of 4 if you are okay with that.
All right, great.
Okay. So, last thing, I know that y'all have cell phones, things like that. Well, I would rather you not use those because we want to use our evidence that we have out here. But I do have some field guides that you can use that have information about the plants that you can find in this type of habitat where we are. And then this is a pretty general book about plants and animals. All right? So, does anyone have any questions? Raise your hand if you do. Cool. All right. I'm going to have these with me, so I'm just going to keep them in my bag. If you need them, let me know. And then, I'm going to grab my stuff. We on down to the creek. So y'all just follow us.
All right, great. Beautiful day for this today, huh? Oh my gosh.
Is to know your regions and geographic regions of where you are and be familiar with the place where you're looking. So who can tell me what geographic region of Georgia we are in right now? Yeah.
Piedmont.
Yeah, so we're in the Piedmont region. And what characterizes the Piedmont in Georgia?
Are we in the Piedmont?
Yeah.
Rolling hills?
Okay, yeah. So we have, it's not super flat, but we're not up in the mountains in North Georgia. Okay. What else? So we talked sort of about like elevation, hills, but not mountains.
Temperate forests.
Huh?
Temperate forests.
Yeah. So we have different types of forests here than you would in other parts of the state. What about temperature and soil and bodies of water that we might have? What else? How is the Piedmont different in those regards than in other parts of the state?
Cooler weather than the south.
Okay, so our temperatures may not get quite as warm annually. We have a more moderate climate than even maybe in way South Georgia. Okay, that'll be important to remember probably. What else? Does anybody know what kind of soils we generally have here?
Red clay.
Yeah, we have some red clay.
Yeah.
Okay, and the Piedmont's known for its abundance in serving agriculture, so we have some nutrient-dense soils. Okay, so yeah, that's all super important to think about, and what we're going to do now is I'm going to set y'all loose for 10 to 15 minutes, and y'all are going to work with your group and explore the area, and remember to stay where we can see and hear you. As adults, I'll just briefly remind you, safety is important. Again, we're familiar with this area, so we know that the banks are kind of steep. If you are cool with getting your feet wet, that's fine, but just be careful, be aware of what's going on in the creek, and be aware that it's warm, and there might be all kinds of critters out. I'm thinking snakes specifically, so just, if you see a snake, please let me know ASAP. I want to see it. Other than that, Steph, do you want to add anything?
If you are rolling over a log or anything, roll it away from you. Don't roll it, roll it towards you so that whatever could be underneath goes away from you. If you roll it like this, they're gonna come right at you. So make sure you're rolling away if you do decide to roll any big rocks or any coarse woody debris today.
Good.
All right, well, we will call y'all back in 10 or 15 minutes. If you need more time, that's totally okay. And y'all are good to go. So either side of the creek is fair game for y'all to explore and get an idea of more
Bless you.
easier. All right,
Oh,
go ahead.
bless you. Bless you. The joys of pollen. I feel you.
And you guys, I have the guidebooks. If you think that these might be helpful to you, you are welcome to grab one of these and come look at it. But also be careful, because these are mine. I just remembered I'm being filmed. Don't mess up my books.
Those UGA books, we just dip them in the creek, you know.
These ones specifically is
That's it, yeah. Good, good. Hey, Miss Anna, Miss Steph, is
stay on like near the creek.
yeah. If you're within sight of the creek, if you can still like look back and see it in the creek, yeah.
all right. I'm interested to see what we find. Let me take a look at your handout one time, Miss Tiffany, if you don't mind. Let me just see.
Let me do.
See what we've got going on here.
We
Oh,
got the
there
guiding
we go.
questions.
Okay.
And we got our first
Very okay.
suspect.
I remember Anna was sharing some of these with you. There you go. So very good. I mean, who knows? We might see some of these things around. You never know.
Tortoise.
Uh-huh.
And we got the white.
Old Bucky there. Okay. Great. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll have fun checking this crime scene out here. All right. It's gorgeous out, isn't it? Look at this.
Oh my gosh, it's so nice. I just know there's a snake under one of those.
Yeah. Oh, that's the place to be. I'm going to kind of mosey around and film the teams while they're working.
Okay, I'm also going to
Okay, great. Great, great. I do know that that log down there, if you get down there near the creek, is just full of scat. I mean, stuff just loves to sit on that. If y'all want to show it, I mean, if we can get down there and look at it, golly, it's like a hot spot. You know, it's like the rest area out
Looking
here.
at that tree. It fell all the way across.
Isn't that something, though? Yeah, look at that. Amazing. And it's been there for as long as I can remember, because we've been doing this lab out here forever. And how influential that is. What are we looking for out here, gang?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty much.
All right. Do you want to check some CWD? Kind of see if there's any evidence on some of this stuff? You're looking for tracks. That's what you said, not scat.
Or anything that would show signs of a white-tailed deer. So I'm wondering about the scratches on some of the trees.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
There's no one. It might just be.
It's just
What is it? It's just the one, but it looks like it's small. Like it's. Just looking.
So also remember to look at those guiding questions that you have, because it'll encourage you to look around, not just
Hey, and hey, gang, if you, oh yeah, little Noel down there, yeah. He's going up that side of the tray.
He's running from it.
He sure is. If y'all look at the bottom of this log down here, Austin, there's a bunch of scat on it, and even right up here. You know? Look at all. I mean, this is like. You see that? I mean, you see this whole thing. Yeah. I mean, just kind of different, you know, to kind of see. And, yeah, pretty wild.
That looks like something's eating out of the creek.
I feel like a bear scat would be a lot bigger.
Does it really? Yeah, it does kind of. I'm looking at it through my bear eyes now instead of the camera. I'll be darned, it sure does. Look at that. I don't know. I mean, it's almost like pieces of scales on there, isn't it? Like something's eaten. Yeah. Yeah, it's probably a raccoon. If I had to take a guess, big guy. Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that something? There he goes. Yeah, a little hopper there. Boop, boop, boop. I'll walk down here and see this crew. Yeah. This is like the rest area for animals. I mean, it's just, look at this. I mean, this is just...
It's a good spot.
Oh, yeah. They like it for some reason, you know?
What does raccoon scat look like?
Well, typically raccoon scat will have stuff in it, kind of like a fox. It'll have like, you could see pieces of scales or broken up clam shells. So this stuff right here, to be honest with you, here looks like it'd be more like a fox or something. Raccoon stuff would kind of, well, to tell you, see this? That's kind of more like raccoon right there. Yeah. All this right here, look at all that.
Oh, wow, I didn't see that.
I mean, that is a gigantic area. Yeah. Somebody likes to take it easy right here. Uh-huh, that's right. That's great. And are you writing down what you see, or what is it that you're doing with the data?
We shouted it out with her over there, and she wrote down a couple things.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
So.
Great. Oh, there you go. Okay. I was gonna say, so you're the recorder. I got you. Whoops. There we go.
A couple holes that'd be good for snakes or something.
Good. All right. Uh-huh. Beautiful. Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out why snakes quit at tax evasion, but you know.
It's funny.
That's a big hole.
And you know, there's a couple of them along this creek that almost look like it could be, I mean, a number of different things. Even things like weasels and things have been out here before that'll get into a bank. So it's yeah, something to look at. I mean, you see like right back in there. James up there, okay. Yeah. Okay. Mosey. Indigo snake would be down South Georgia, where it's real sandy.
Is that what's on our list, the indigo snake? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, is that one of the ones? Was that one of the ones you were looking for? I just thought it was a random question. Well, I don't know, Mason. I don't know.
Y'all still have to give me evidence.
I didn't know that was one of the questions. I knew Gopher tortoise was. I didn't know indigo snake. Oh, okay. Okay. That would be good if you saw one of those. That would be.
Y'all could say that you used a professional reference. Y'all found a reader in the
Yeah, you ran across this random person that was just this fountain of knowledge. That's right. Yeah. That's funny. Sorry, Miss Ann. I didn't. Daggone, giving away answers. That was very slick right there, Mason, too, the way you asked that. Let me ask you this. What about an indigo snake? Yeah, look at this right here. I mean, you get into a big old stump like this, but look at this hole in the bottom. I mean, squirrels, chipmunks, and stuff will get up in here, but yeah, right there. I mean, it's just a great little place to live. Yep, it's good.
Alright, so we've been looking for about 10 minutes. I'll give y'all about 5 or so more to make your final observations, and then we'll all regroup. Because it seems like they might still be looking.
Yeah, I think they're back there on the crime scene there. Yeah.
I found a hole.
Uh-huh. Put the caution tape up, you know.
Move my foot naturally went up to here.
Hey, what you got going on here?
I think these are man-made.
Oh, I don't know. I really don't know. That's pretty good. Now, if for some reason
Because they're like
they didn't,
on top of each other.
yeah, if for some reason they didn't, let's point them out. That there is a teachable moment. Absolutely. That's great. You know about that guy, Downy Woodpecker.
It was like this big around. That was big.
What do you think of the bears?
I like Megan's down here taking some pictures of the evidence on the crime scene. That's great.
They're about to find out.
Well, we need to ask if that's something that was.
Oh yeah!
We were just talking to Miss Anna on the.
Deer.
Yeah, okay.
Did y'all get a picture of them? Yeah. Cool.
Bless you. We didn't know whether you all had planted those there or not, or if those were real, or who knows, right?
No, those are real.
Oh, okay. Because I looked at it, I was like, well, maybe they did. Okay. That's good.
No, those are real.
Isn't that something? Good deal. Solemn.
I got excited. I thought I found a snake shed.
Did you really? Okay.
I thought I did.
Okay.
It was not. That was my eyes peeled.
Alright, y'all, let's start making our way back over here. We started, and we'll talk about what we found in our investigation.
that blind people, they don't exist on blind people? Is that your proof? I'm telling you, you can't do they exist. I mean, you're all around persons, that's what they're all around.
on up here, let's make that circle or half circle again so that we can all see each other and I can see y'all and everything. So also, while we're standing here, if y'all can hear over my loud voice, I heard what I think is a tree frog. I don't know for sure. But I heard some kind of frog, so I've been hearing it. So if we hear it again, just keep an ear out for it. So, okay. So is everybody staying with your groups? Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so who would like to start and tell us the following? Tell us what animals you were looking for in your investigation, whether you think that each one would be here or somewhere else, and why you think that this would either suit or would not suit that animal.
Feel free to present evidence.
Yeah, you can photos.
Key witnesses as well.
Did you interview any other critters? Interview a tree?
We interviewed a ranger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they
we
did.
had a raccoon, an alligator, and a hellbender salamander. And we really think that there's a great chance that the raccoon will be here because there are a lot of snags, like dead trees with holes in them. And then the creek would be a good food source with them. And then we saw what we believe was some raccoon scat, so some evidence of him.
Cool.
And for the hellbender salamander, we think that there's a chance that he's here. The water is cool. We don't know if it's below, I think it's 70 degrees, so maybe, but otherwise it's fast moving. There's lots of rocks for it to hide under, and it seems to be decent quality water. And for the alligator, we thought that it would probably not live here because the water's too cool and we're a little bit far north, and we didn't see any evidence whatsoever.
Okay. So, I love y'all's thinking there. Raccoon, definitely. This is a great habitat for them because, as you mentioned, we're right next to a food source. There are plenty of trees for them to climb up into, hide in, live in, all of that stuff. And we know that raccoons, I think it might have said on there that raccoons they can live around humans. They're okay with disturbed areas. And so this isn't anything that would be, this isn't too trafficked for them. Yes, no alligators here for sure. We're way too far north in the state. If someone, I always tell kids when they ask me, if someone brought an alligator up here and put it in a pond in Athens, it might do okay. There is one at Bear Hollow Zoo, but they have to put her inside for parts of the season or parts of the year because it does get too cold sometimes. Alligators are ectothermic. That means that their body temperature depends on the outside temperature. So it does get a little too cold for them here, and especially in this particular area, this is not big enough. They would clog up that creek, right? So with the hellbender salamander, I love your thinking there because this is a fairly good creek for them to be in. And right now, the water is probably below 70 degrees. But think about how hot it gets in the summer. It gets really, really hot here. And that also, we do go through some sort of dry periods in this part of the state sometimes. And so this creek may run kind of low. And salamanders as amphibians,
I got the perfect shirt.
need water constantly, and so I like that y'all thought, yeah, possibly. And again, I don't know. Hellbenders are pretty sensitive little critters, and so like the alligator, if you were to bring them here, they, I don't know, probably wouldn't actually make it even for a little bit with help from people. Fun fact about hellbender salamanders. Who's heard of those before or seen one in a picture even? Okay, those are the largest amphibian in the state of Georgia. They're like bigger than this clipboard. They're huge. So they're actually they're threatened. You can find them in North Georgia, and they are a threatened species, which is really unfortunate because they're really cool and very unique. But people disturb the habitat. Fishermen sometimes will disturb the habitat or even kill them, maybe on accident. So gotta watch out for those guys.
People always like to stack rocks along creeks and everything. There often that's disturbing very crucial areas. They'll lay eggs underneath rocks, and then you're picking up those rocks and stacking them outside of their habitat. Big issue, especially in Tennessee, North Georgia.
Yeah.
I've seen this.
All right. So, did y'all want to add anything else to what you found? Any pictures, any cool evidence that you found? Cool. Perfect. All right. So, we'll move on to the next group, and then we'll circle back around at the end. Okay. So, who wants to share next?
I guess we will.
Cool.
We had a black bear, an indigo snake, and a green tree frog. We interviewed a ranger and found out that an indigo snake does not live in this area.
And can you tell us why?
I totally did not know. I had to just interrupt. It was so slick how Mason just came up and said, how about an indigo snake? Do they live around? I just thought, just asking a question. No, I don't think so. No, oh, thank you. Oh, God. And then the teacher heard me, so I oh, man, sorry.
No, we appreciate it. Well, there aren't really like a lot of wetlands up here as compared to like South Georgia. Gosh, I can't remember everything he said. I wasn't there. It was Mason who asked.
It's also less sandy and.
Look at where you might find an indigo snake. What do they eat? What animals do they cohabitate with? Things like that.
They live in sand hills, and we're not really having much of sandy soil here.
There you go.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So, okay, anything else?
Is the water too cool up here?
Oh, I don't know about that. Possibly. It might get a little chilly up here for them. So what animal... Well, oh wait, we haven't gotten to that one. Never mind.
Okay.
I'm going to take that question back, because I'll give something else away if I do that. Never mind. So, okay, so the evidence for the indigo snake not being here, not the right kind of soil, and we talked earlier about how we have a lot of the red clay up here. And yeah, you wouldn't find an indigo snake typically, or really at all, from my knowledge, above the fall line. Same, I didn't mention this, but probably the same with alligators. Are y'all familiar with the fall line in the state? Yeah, okay, so
Good.
the gnat line, yeah. So basically, it is the line that kind of not really splits the state in half, but I mean maybe roughly in half, but splits the state between the Piedmont and the coastal plains, and it's like totally different environments in terms of soil, vegetation, animals that you'll find. Okay, continue.
With the bear, there were not a lot of big trees for it to like be hollowed out and sleep in it. I think maybe it's like not too cold enough for them to live here, like in the winter months maybe. Yeah. They don't really have swamps or marshlands. They do have like pine stands and whatnot. So yeah, I don't know about the frog.
I think the frog would probably live here, moist environment with the creek running through. Plenty of leaf cover during the non-winter season. About all I can think of with the frogs. Can't remember what else is said on there. But.
Yeah, awesome. So definitely you could find green tree frogs around here. Even especially right now with all the rain we've been having, it's been really warm. And in this particular environment, there are going to be bugs, there are things for them to eat. And again, as amphibians, frogs like nice moist environments. They need to be near water. They need to be near a consistent source of water. You can definitely find green tree frogs anywhere in the Piedmont for sure. And a good place to look for them is if you leave your front porch light on, especially in the summer. They're attracted not to the light, but to the bugs that are attracted to the light. And so people often find them on porches. But you can also I found them on plants in the botanical gardens before. Okay, so I like what you said about the bear. We're not really sure, right? It's like maybe...
Probably more North Georgia.
Yeah, so typically in Georgia, black bears are found in the mountains. And then weirdly enough, in the Okefenokee swamp area, And then also, I read that they were found in the Okmulgee River, like, drainage area. So they're, like, kind of marshy, swampy. I once heard, and this is maybe a rumor, but I've heard that there have been bear sightings in every county in Georgia. And so, I mean, it's one of those things that, like, maybe you could find a bears in different counties. There were bears sighted in Morgan County, where I'm from, like, maybe this time last year. It's wild. And it's kind of scary because you don't want that in your backyard, right?
Yeah.
And then even if you see on the news sometimes in the sort of like northern metro Atlanta areas, people will see them in their backyards because we're kind of spreading out into their habitat.
Yeah.
So, possible. I highly doubt there's a bear in Whitehall Forest today. But yeah, most likely no. So I like that you said that. There are some animals that maybe they would be around here, or maybe we're kind of pushing them out to a different area, but it really can depend.
They may not thrive here, but they may be moving through this area
Yeah.
to a better spot.
Yes. Like that.
Good.
Cool. Okay, so our next group.
Oh, we lost it. Okay. Well, the first one we had was a terrapin turtle. So the only reason I would say no to this area is there is plenty of spots for like passing and vegetation. I just don't think they would have a good surplus of food supply because they do like to eat small fish. And yeah, there's plenty of invertebrates in here, but I just don't think they would have a great food supply here. The other one we had was a tortoise. And they like more sandy, dry soil, and I think it's just moist here.
Oh, what kind of tortoise though, specifically?
Gopher tortoise.
Yeah.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
Gopher tortoise, and they like more pine stands than they do these hardwood stands. And then we had a white-tailed deer, and we actually did find tracks over there showing evidence that they are here.
Okay.
And there's lots of vegetation around for them also, so that was the one that we did find evidence on.
Yeah, and so some of these, like the raccoon and the deer, we've obviously seen those here in our trail cam and everything, but I'm glad that y'all found evidence and supported your theories here. So I like what you talked about with the terrapin and the gopher tortoise. So terrapins, you're correct, you wouldn't find those here. And they particularly like brackish water. Who can tell me what brackish water is?
It's like a mixture of salt water and fresh water
Yeah, and where do you typically find brackish water?
on the coast in California.
Yeah, so terrapins, you can find them as far up as Maine, but you'll really only find them on the coast where rivers start to meet the ocean and where that water can mix. Terrapins don't have to have salt water or brackish water to live, but they like it, and it usually coincides with the habitats that they like, so the marshes. So who's been to Jekyll Island or St. Simons or Tybee, places like that on the coast? Yeah, so those are a great place to see terrapins, but it's also a great place for terrapin education because they often are susceptible to strikes by cars, which is really unfortunate because they do move around. So they're not purely aquatic, or they aren't only aquatic. They do move around via land sometimes. So yeah, that's the important thing about diamondback terrapins. That usually when we think of them, we think of marshy areas with that brackish water. Okay, and then the gopher tortoise. So you mentioned that they like sandy soil, which do we have that here or no? And that they like pine stands, but specifically they like longleaf pine stands. And do we have any longleaf pines really anywhere in Whitehall? Do y'all know? Not naturally. There might be some planted here. Dr. Furman, you might know that, but typically they don't grow around here. And the cool thing about longleaf pine forests is that they depend on natural fire. And so gopher tortoises and indigo snakes are, I think this is pretty common. When I think of gopher tortoises and indigo snakes, I think of longleaf pines. And when I think of longleaf pines, I think of those animals. Gopher tortoises dig these really deep burrows. That's how they stay away from the fires that naturally occur in those habitats. You can often find animals like indigo snakes down in those burrows. You can find possums, raccoons, rattlesnakes. They all just kind of chill in there together. Or at least they do with the gopher tortoises. They don't really mind. So that's awesome. I like that y'all have evidence for what you were thinking about, and also, again, I know I mentioned this, but it's important to know that some animals do move around. You'll notice that there were no birds in there, and that's because birds move around a lot. So it's hard to say, like, you would never find this bird in Whitehall because migration and all that. So that was a little much for today. And so, Steph, do you want to round us out with the end and how we would modify Whitehall possibly to, and asking how people might modify Whitehall to lure people in?
Yeah.
Good.
So everyone in your little group have like a 1-minute discussion. Pick one that wouldn't be in this area and what you would change. Maybe you would add something different. Maybe you would add little fishies or add other animals or other types of ecosystems and habitats to cater or bring in this criminal critter. Got it, like a minute, 60 seconds.
Okay.
Go.
Great.
I think the bears.
Yeah.
Get the people out, the bears are allowed in.
That's right. That's right. Gonna go viral.
I got like 15-second warning. Alright, we ready? Alright, we'll start the different direction. Our group right here, what would you change to try to lure in or cater to one of your critters?
Well, we talked about adding sand to the soil and planting more along the time accommodate the gopher critters.
Okay, excellent. And we'll go quickly to the next group.
I say for the bears, we would need to minimize the human interaction that might bring them in.
Cool. I like that y'all chose bears too, because that's one that we talked about where it's like, maybe, like that'd be an easy catch, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is there anything we can think of, not just human interaction, but what would humans do that would affect something else that bears might like? Like not just the fact that we're here talking, making noise, but something that we would do in this area, maybe affecting another animal that could affect a bear.
Well, in the past, we've drained a lot of our kind of more swamplands for
Yeah.
farmlands, and so
Yeah, so we were kicking out a lot of animals that bears might like to snack on, like fish or anything like that. We're also here affecting, including, and maybe we're not letting berries grow as much, so then they're not going to appreciate all of our delicious berries, just like that. Excellent. Next group.
Good.
You said the same thing, like just shut the gates and not let anybody in Whitehall, and you probably get some bears in the area.
For our two specific ones, we would have to really kind of change the water temperature, and so we think that would be a little too difficult to do.
Yeah.
That would require a lot of extra funding from the state.
We just all get a bucket of ice.
That's right.
Fine. Cool. So that's a thing that we kind of can't do. Humans are like the only actual animal that can change ecosystems like that. So you have to think about, yeah, sure, if we close the gates or maybe we add sand, we may bring in other animals. But then, can anyone think of maybe if we invite another animal in, could it affect another animal that's already here? Can anyone think of a situation that could happen like that?
The raccoon may want to move out if the bear moves in.
Yeah, if all of a sudden we have too many bears, our raccoons are going to go down, which can affect and maybe the insects that they're eating or anything like that. Then we have too many insects, and then we don't have anything of that. So it's one of those things like, yeah, we could bring in sand, and we'd have more different snakes, and then those snakes would overpopulate the snake population, which would cut out the copperheads, and then we'd have a whole issue there. So I think we can agree that although we can find ecosystems and they're perfect for different animals, but trying to change it to cater to other animals, it's one of those ethics things that we could do it, but we're not going to.
Like in Jurassic
point.
Park.
Yeah.
Just because you can doesn't mean that you should.
Okay.
Life finds a way.
All right. So that is awesome to hear from all of y'all. Does anyone have any questions about anything that we talked about, anything that you saw today?
Anyone see anything interesting, something you hadn't seen in a while?
We saw one log back there that would just had scat all over the thing. I mean, it was just like the favorite restroom for everybody out here. It's just where they went, you know. I thought that was interesting.
That was cool. I liked seeing that. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, thanks, y'all. That's it.
Let's give this team a hand, huh? How about that? And team.
Fly has been landing on me this whole time, and I've been trying not to smack it.
Oh, teachable moment right there, Steph. I'm going to stop it.